history. You cannot talk wrestling without the many contributions and achievements of African American and other wrestlers of color and help pave the way in breaking ground, fighting segregation, battling racism, and rising above all. Today's stars, Bobby Lashley, The New Day, Bianca Belair, and many others might not be where they are without many of these trailblazers. One one of the very first, if not the first, black pro wrestler, that's him right here, guys, was a wrestler named Vero Smalls. Vero Smalls started out his career at age 16 and was a former slave. He wrestled at the East Coast under the moniker Black Sam. So Vero Smalls, guys, the very first African American pro wrestler. KD,
Wow, that's interesting to know. The first one for history here. What did they say what organization he was in?
he wasn't in the organization.
Just
He
wrestle.
wrestled on the East Coast under the moniker Black Sam. So he probably
Okay.
was a jobber. He probably was a jobber for various organizations. But he was
So
the
what was
first.
okay, what was they getting paid? A quarter back then? $1, $2, $3 back then?
Who knows?
Let's
Who
roll with it.
knows? The first ever black wrestler to hold the world championship of any kind. And it probably was the colored. They probably tagged this probably gonna be your first color. Cause remember the titles were segregated just like how in boxing it was. Remember, Jack was like, nah, son, I want that title. I want that title. You know what I mean? So this guy right here was the first one to win the first world championship of any kind. He was the Jamaican-born Frank Kosir. In 1909, Kosir, the world's middleweight title, won the world's middleweight title in London, England. He defended the title against both white and black challengers, guys. Katie?
Wow, this is the history right here. He was a Jamaican guy. So he wasn't even American. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And he was the middleweight in London, England. Is that why wrestling has so much history with London? They love using the London arena.
You're
Everything's
right.
in London.
The
I
O2
know.
arena was
Yeah,
it for them.
yeah. I think that's that. I guess that's the
Wembley.
Wembley. And then remember, they trying to get WrestleMania in London for WrestleMania 42, I believe. They're trying to get WrestleMania over there.
Hmm.
London has a lot of history with wrestling. I see that now.
Then we got Reginald Siki was the grandson of slaves and wrestled from the 1920s until the 1940s. Siki was one of the first African Americans to successfully tour the country and the world. He wrestled against all races at a time when most white wrestlers refused to be in the same ring with black competitors. His star power made him a champion in Europe and caught the eyes of Hollywood directors like Cicely B. DeMille. Siki married a white woman, which was extremely taboo during this era.
Wow.
Um,
Grandson of a slave, you said?
yeah, it goes
Wow.
deep. It go back. It go back. The history go back. Now, Black
Wow.
Panther, Jim Mitchell broke color barriers in Canada by becoming one of the country's top baby faces starting in 1926. He hailed from Louisiana, Kentucky, but promoters in Canada said he was from Harlem, New York. Harlem, stand up. That's my hometown right there. Mitchell would integrate wrestling up north by wrestling against numerous white stars of that era. All in all, his career lasted 23 years. Now that was the first one of them gimmicks right there. They gave him a gimmick. They wanted to play like if he was from Harlem, because I guess Harlem was popular. Harlem was trending. Harlem Nights. So they said we gonna make you from Harlem, kind of like Booker T, just like Booker T. Cause Booker T, how you gonna be in
True.
Harlem Heat and you from Texas, my brother?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. We all thought he was Harlem Heat, him and Stevie Ray. Yep.
Right. Right. I knew I ain't never see them in Harlem. Like I ain't never see Bad News Brown. Like I ain't, bro. You from Canada? How you from Harlem? If you was in the, you trained in the dungeon and all of that, bro. When you ever was in Harlem? But that's never here, never there. Never here, never there. I'm from Harlem. Like this is a hell of a picture right here. Negroes wrestling on Legion card. During the 1950s, black wrestlers were segregated into their own division. They wrestled in the Chitlin Circuit, which was named after the innard of pigs that slave owners used to feed their slaves. We know a lot about chitlins. We know about them chitlins now. Them things stink. You can't, yo, don't
Mm,
invite me over to your
mm,
house, especially not Thanksgiving Eve if that's what you cooking, because them things come in a bucket. Them things smell like a body. They smell like an absolute body, guys. Ugh, not good.
yeah, intestines, man. Pigs intestines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what you gotta endure for the amount that you about to eat and for the taste that you're about, it's not worth it to me. To me, but I know us folks, we got our traditions. That's not really traditions. That's bad habits. That's all. But in any event, which was named after the innard of a pig that slave owners used to feed their slaves. They had their own championship titles that were called World Negro title or World Colored title. This is why I use that Jack. I use that Jack Johnson video to show you it's the same thing. Remember, Jack said, "No, I don't just want to be the colored champion. I want your championship, Craig. I want your money, Craig." You know what I mean? So it's just some history, guys. It's history. The titles were recognized by the National Wrestling Alliance. So you'll recognize our colored title, but we can't win your NWA title, right? So you will recognize the colored title, but what happened when when we win the colored title? We can't win that 10 pounds of gold. Pay attention, guys. Pay attention. Inspired by Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball in 1947, promoter Billy Wolf decided to capitalize on history by introducing black women to professional wrestling. His troop, his troupe consisted of three sisters named Ethel Johnson, Babs Wingo, and Merva Scott. Other black women, including Kathleen Wimberly and Mary Harton, Wolf was quoted as saying about his all black women wrestler, "My Negro girls are the hottest thing in this sport." Now, what you got to say about that, TBK, knowing what you know about how our women nowadays are booked?
So I see that they always had the muscular black woman. The one in the middle kind of resembles a Bianca Belair or Jacqueline or something like that. So that was always the image of a female black wrestler. And always got to add some type of appeal to it, pretty much. So they always try to promote sex appeal. But yeah, they
Right,
have
because he said hottest. He didn't say the most
mm,
athletic. He didn't say the most talented, the hottest. Like,
yeah. It's all about what they can sell. and I see nothing change. Nothing changed. I see. That's what I see. It's
That's a
always
fact. K Will, what's going on, K Will?
wow.
But
Yeah.
yo, history. This history we going over tonight, guys. We going over history. All right.
Yeah, you
What
said some good stuff though. Go ahead, you said some good stuff.
Luther Lindsay was a former standout college football player. Woo! So now we get into the first black football player turned wrestler because you know that's a pipeline going from college football to wrestling. So many stars: Ron Simmons, Rock. You know what I mean? Well, I said we're not gonna talk about the Rock today. You're not gonna,
Yeah.
but Ron
Uh,
Simmons. You know what I mean? He's one of
no,
those
Mark Henry.
guys.
Mark Henry was a power lifter. Didn't Mark Henry play football a little bit too, or he's only a power lifter? Oh, he played
I'm not
football
too
too.
sure. I'm not too
I think
sure.
he played football in college. I think he played. Let me. I think if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
yeah, he
Trick
played football in high
Williams.
school. He played. Yeah, he played football in high school. I don't think he played in college. He was more of a power lifter. And then of course Trick Williams. Um, I think Moose, the guy that was
Moose.
Moose was a football player. I think he even was in NFL. Moose, that was
Right.
the
TNA.
TNA champion. He was a former football player for real. He actually played for the. If you guys remember, Moose played for the Atlanta Falcons and plenty other teams. He was actually pro. He went pro. So that's a good example right there.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, Luther Lindsay was a former standout college football player who couldn't find work in the NFL because of his skin color. Lindsay ended up playing pro football in Canada, and that is where he met Stu Hart and became good friends. So we can eliminate that, but we know that because look at Bret Hart. Bret Hart married to a black woman, so we know ain't it ain't a racist bone in our Hart family. Ain't a racist bone in our Hart family, guys. History, guys. History. And that is where he met Stu Hart and became good friends. Lindsay was trained by Hart and became a wrestler competing from the 1950s until the early 1970s. Then NWA World Champion Lou Thesz said that Luther Lindsay was the greatest black wrestler of all times, but also added that his place in history was not because he was black, but in spite of being black. So why you ain't put the title on him? Why not put the strap on
What?
that? We all know how they hurl Lou Thesz. So now for Lou Thesz to say that about Luther Lindsay, a black man, a black wrestler at that, is it says something. Take TBK, take it away.
So he couldn't get the title. He said that he said it was not because he's black, but in spite of being black. Wow. Y'all did not want nobody to have a belt. That's what I said. Rikishi was he was spot on with that promo. Y'all did not want to see a black person win
Yeah.
though. And
Like they did not want to. Yo, and you know what's crazy? They did not want to see. You know, I didn't play. I couldn't play all of the documentary of the Jack joint, the Jack Johnson. But you know that after he beat that dude that they thought was the man, they end up going to get the guy that retired. They got the Jeffries guy that retired as the champion. He kind of ducked Jack and then retired, which let Tommy Guns what's the name? He let the other guy who Jack demolished and they stopped the camera for. Jeffries came back and they thought he was gonna do something. He beat the hell out of that man too, boy. He beat the hell out of Jeffries too. You know that? And
yeah,
they were really mad. The establishment was really mad. And then they ended up trying to send any and everybody. I think they got this guy juiced up. This dude was juiced up. Jack hit him with everything under the sun. They end up going 25 rounds, guys, and Jack just couldn't go no more. And they was happy. They took that as a win. They took that. They was good with that. You can't make this stuff up, bro.
I just realized something. I think I know why they went with the black wrestlers over, besides the whole racial thing. I just think that the wrestling industry has a fear that if they do that, the whole wrestling industry will be ran by predominantly black people. And we've seen that with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA was not like it is today. It's
Mm-hmm.
known as a black sport. It's called what it is. In NFL, we just say it's a diverse,
Mm-hmm.
but black. There's more blacks. They're just not quarterbacks, but all the other, the tight ends, the defensive line, offensive line. There's a lot of black guys in those positions. In the defensive side, they ain't
Right.
gonna let them run. Yeah, but I think if
But
they
but
let,
Joe, you know what slowed us down? Because I know where you're going. What slowed us down in NFL was Michael Vick. The
yeah,
Michael
oh,
Vick.
big time, big time. And I think that's what these whole wrestling industries are going. You keep putting on there, they gonna take over every. And I think they're afraid of losing that fan base, which is predominantly a white fan base. They're scared that they're gonna lose ticket sales, merchandise sales, and we know how much amount of money that brings in revenue for all wrestling companies. I think that was fears like if we put the belt on black people. I'm not saying it's right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a right thing that they're doing. If that's the reason. I'm saying I think if they do that, they're thinking, hey, we gonna lose a lot of ticket sales. People start coming to the shows, live events. Hey, we gonna lose merchandise sales. Ain't nobody gonna buy the merchandise no more. And then we're gonna take a big hit. Because wrestling industry did go through a big hit back in what 94, 95 with steroids. They probably don't want to face that again. I'm just saying. Maybe they have fear of going back to that.
That's a fact. Gerard, you on point with something right there. And I want you to pay attention to something. They're gonna turn Xavier Woods heel, but that don't mean that they're gonna push him. They might turn him heel so that they could feed him to the good guy Cody. You know what I mean? They're gonna turn him heel and they're gonna
Mm,
push him to the moon because that's the blueprint. That's what they do to us. They turn us heel and they get us believable. We're good enough to believe. Remember, they want us. We're just good enough to believe. Remember the promo.
yeah,
Triple H said you're here to entertain.
yeah,
You're here to
entertaining.
entertain. So we're good enough to make it look like we're about to win, but then we get there and we lose. Look at Carmelo Hayes, guys.
Look at them.
Why is Carmelo Hayes? I know for a fact Carmelo Hayes better be that surprise. He better be the one come out and take the challenge for the open challenge at Berlin. Because
Oh,
if not, that is criminal. What you think, TBK?
yeah. I mean, if you think about it, Carmelo Hayes was the first round draft pick of SmackDown. Former NXT champion, former NXT North American champion. He had a pretty good resume coming in getting drafted to SmackDown. Why is he getting put down all the way on the card now? Why? And then no offense to Andrade. Why is he taking it against Andrade over and over? I mean, that's wrong too. Carmelo should get an opportunity.
That's fact.
And I think this is what Swerve meant when he left WWE. And now I see why he left. He saw that where it was going. He's not gonna be a part of that. He's not gonna push me. But yeah, they'll push us, make us heal. Then what I don't like when they make heel, they always make them a cowardly, stupid heel. I see that a lot, time and time again. They always do that.
Yeah, yeah. Wally,
Always
Wally, you ain't see SmackDown on Friday? Yeah,
watch
LA Knight
SmackDown.
issued an open challenge, bro. He said he'll see whoever. He'll see whoever at Bash in the Berlin. He going to Bash in the Berlin and he'll see whoever. So it's an open challenge.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of this whole heel thing. They'll be healed and they look stupid afterwards. They bring them down. I just don't like that. I mean, I think that's a whole bunch of
I
nonsense.
agree. I agree.
Yeah,
Everybody don't need to be healed. Like everybody don't need to be healed. Plus, People was heel. If you trace their making, a lot of people was heel already. Down to
Hmm.
John Cena. We want him to be heel so bad. He was heel already.
Yeah, and I think that's why Stone Cold Steve Austin is such a unique character. Stone Cold's not a baby face boy. He was an anti-hero. That's what made him so unique.
Right. All right, let's get back to it. By the 1960s, pro wrestling began to desegregate, spearheaded by the likes of Sputnik Monroe, a very popular white wrestler who refused to compete on shows unless the black fans could sit wherever they like, instead of being isolated from other non-black fans. He will also often team with African American wrestlers. No, Norvell Austin Monroe would say, "Black is beautiful," and Austin would reply, "White is wonderful." And that's teamwork. And remember, guys, every white man not white supremacy. Every white person not white supremacy. Because it's yeah, y'all do know that the Jewels and the curly hats run the show. This their circus. They run the show, and every white person is not a Jewel. You know that, right, guys? Remember that. For more information on that, y'all can subscribe to my brutally honest good bread channel, guys. But we not here for that. But let's get it. In the 1960s, promoter Nick Gulas booked the first integrated match in the South, Birmingham, Alabama, to be exact. Lynn Russo, white, teamed with Bearcat Brown, black, to take on Soul Wingeroff and Tojo Yamamoto. The news of this match taking place led members of the KKK to send bomb threats at the building. The match was going to happen at Glugas Gulas stuck to his guns and moved forward with the match, and the show was a sellout. And team of Russo and Brown continued to team